General Risenga Maluleke launching the SA Census 2022. He decried the slow uptake of registration by households, and registration closes at the end of January. State SA is ready under the hashtag Get Counted. He said 3.2 billion rand is what it will cost to carry out the census. The results will be released in 12 months. The Deputy Minister in the Presidency, Thembi Siweya, also spoke at the launch. Miyelani Holeni is with Ntiyiso Consulting, and he joins us now for some analysis. A very good morning, afternoon to you, Mr. Holeni. Thank you so much for making the time. Stats SA conducting a population census in February. The significance of this process?
It is a hugely significant process, given the success, as the previous one was dubbed the yellow census, and this is a green census. But more seriously, a census is crucial because not only does it enable the understanding of what makes up the economy with regards to the people, with regards to the qualifications, with regards to where they are located, with regards to the services, but it starts to build a picture of where the country is and possibly where it should be if you take it in comparison with the previous censuses. And we've seen that there are bold strides. However, there are areas that perhaps if you look at the number of data points that the Stats SA is after, may be more telling of how to bring back the development and to bring the country back to the ways in which it was accelerating its development.
It comes at an interesting time when there's a lot of conversation in the country about immigration, and there's always been conversation about the inability to count South Africans without incorporating in some aspects people who are not necessarily South African. How will this conversation, how will this dynamic be treated in the process?
And it's quite important because at times we've spoken about 50 million South Africans, and at times there have been figures of 55 million South Africans, including foreign nationals. So that conversation, I believe, is brought into the spotlight, but more from an economic point of view, because the infrastructure that we have developed and are continuing to develop within the country should be able to cater for X number of people. So that sort of census, or this particular census, should also be a tool of planning that can help government to be able to plan a lot better, and not only plan for the present, but in being able to plan for the future, and the future talking about 10, 20, 30 years, up to 50 years ahead, such that we can be able to understand how our economy, how our country is going to develop, how the infrastructure should be, and broadly the development and stimulation of the economy. So this census becomes crucial because it must put at least to under the spotlight the exact number of South Africans as well as foreign nationals, which I believe there will be other processes that can be undertaken to ensure that, there's either documentation of foreign nationals, as well as looking at what the skills are that are being brought into the country and the skills that are lacking within the country that can also be developed. So it is a crucial census from that point of view.
We've just come out of local government elections, looking forward to a national election in 2024. How does having a proper count of the citizens of the country help these kind of processes, especially elections?
For instance, when we quote various figures and, having had discussions around the local economic development more specifically, the understanding of the population that resides within a specific municipality, but most importantly, taking it down to a ward level, to have that sort of understanding of the mix of various people and to understand their economic status is quite crucial, because we also have voters on the one side, but we don't quite understand what the challenges are that the actual voters may be facing, or at least what credentials they would be bringing towards the development of the country, building it up from wards. So we are speaking about the district development model, but the district development model doesn't start at the district. It starts actually at the ward level. It goes down to the household level. And so the model would cascade into a district development model, which would then cover the entire country. So having had the national, at least the local elections, we have a picture of what the political voting patterns are, but we need to get into the core of what the economic strata of the various municipalities look like, as well as the drivers that are resident within there, as well as the gaps that must be closed in due course. But most importantly, as I reiterate, to build a development plan and to enrich the national development plan such that it's not just broad-based or skimming the top of what and how the country should be developing itself going forward.
The different officials at the launch this morning kept talking about how digitally advanced this census will be. There will be web interactions. They were talking about the kind of things they'll be counting, multimodal collections of 113 data points. What interested me was that 2.3 billion, or the 3.2 billion figure that came out in terms of 3.2 billion rand in terms of the cost of this process. Are South Africans getting their money's worth?
Well, I think that from if we judge it by the other the censuses that have taken place before, not necessarily knowing the cost of the previous censuses, but data in the economy, the digital economy that we are in, is a key driver, and it's a huge factor that must be taken forward. We do understand that it takes quite a lot to collect accurate data and to get down to the minute detail of the data points. The data points that they are after would provide, for instance, leading as well as lagging indicators of where the economy is going, and be used in some cases as predictive measures going forward. So I think we should not just look at the value of 3.2 billion, but look at the value that should emanate from a census such as this one, of bringing up-to-date information, of putting to bed guesswork of the number of people within South Africa as well as foreign nationals, as well as isolating the economic variables that people are sitting with or facing in the current state, and how that can shape a new plan that can take the country forward. We have lost a lot of competitiveness as a country, and so if this census goes as well as has been touted, we should be able to understand what is it that we need to do to become more competitive or to return to the former glory. So that's where I think if we want to understand the figure of 3.2 billion vis-a-vis the value should be more immense, even if you take it as a value, as a percentage of the GDP. It's still a figure that is minute, but the value that it should bring is what we'll be looking forward to.
How does conducting a census help with growing the economy and creating jobs?
Well, the data sets and the data points that are being collected are key, because if you look at the employment, number of people within a household, you can build a picture of exactly in Ward 13 in Greater Giyani, for instance, how many people are there and how many people are in the households, how many people are employed, how many people are unemployed, what kind of salaries they earn, and so on. So that starts to give a picture of the economic status of where people are at. And you can then take it with perhaps comparisons with the national minimum wage, or comparison with other data that is there from a labor market research point of view. And that builds a complete picture of where the people are. Are they in abject poverty? Are they living below the breadline? Are they above the breadline? what sort of industry is there that can absorb them, and what opportunities are there or not there within there. So all of those factors goes into a machinery that hopefully well planned and well crafted and analyzed can create a picture of how to then develop, whether it's factories or manufacturing or bring opportunities in the mining space or agricultural space a lot closer to look at, bringing, for instance, beneficiation or processing factories and so on. So all of those factors are crucial because they give a baseline, and that baseline can then be used to then project forward so that various opportunities can then be developed and policy can respond accordingly to the data at play.